Today on the Roxom Report, Bitcoin is hovering around 113,000 as traders wait for Powell's speech on Friday. Volkswagen is now letting you purchase cars with Bitcoin. China may be reconsidering introducing a stablecoin. All that and much more. Plus, we have Anton, product manager at Xapo Bank, with us on the show today. And later we'll be speaking to Bobby Shell, VP of Marketing at Voltage. That's all coming up right now on the Roxom Report. Welcome to today's episode of the Roxom Report. Today is Thursday, the 21st of August, 2025. I'm your host, Ione Butler. Right now, Bitcoin is trading at $115,000, 400, which is nice to see it move up slightly. And today I'm joined by Anton from Xapo Bank. Anton serves as product manager at Xapo, where he spearheads initiatives to integrate cutting-edge Bitcoin technologies, most notably bringing Lightning Network functionality into regulated banking services. He played a key role in orchestrating Xapo Bank's partnership with Lightspark, enabling fast, low-cost Bitcoin payments and reinforcing the bank's mission to make Bitcoin accessible for everyday use. Through these efforts, Anton is advancing Xapo Bank's vision of blending digital asset innovation with traditional financial reliability. Anton, thank you for joining me today. How are you?
Hello, Ione. Thanks for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
It's great to talk to you. You're a recurring guest on our sister show, the Blockchain Report, so it's nice to be speaking with you today. We haven't done our deep dive, so sorry if this is sort of being repeated, but I really love to kind of get a sense from guests about their journey with Bitcoin and how it has sort of got you to where you are today in the work that you're doing. Would you mind sort of sharing a bit about your story?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a story which I actually haven't shared because I was and I am still very ashamed of it. But I found and I discovered actually Bitcoin in 2010. I had a website. I was doing some comments about football games. And then I received a message from one guy who asked me to buy a link on my website. This was the very early days of social engineering. Search engine optimization, and he asked me, "Hey, I want to buy a link in your website. What's going to be the price?" And I said, "That's an amazing deal. I'm going to charge you $15." Back then, the Bitcoin was 30 cents, and he offered me 50 Bitcoins. Then I spent probably 10 minutes going to internet, searching for Bitcoin, reading about Bitcoin, and I said, "No, that's a scam. It was created a few months ago. I'm never going to receive this." And I replied to him, "It's like this my PayPal account, send me USD or we don't have a deal." The guy sent me $15, and this was my first touch with the Bitcoin. And
I bet you wish you'd taken that 50 Bitcoin now, huh?
Now, yes, but to be honest, this was very early days of Bitcoin. It was not so popular. We didn't have Roxom TV. We didn't have influencers. We didn't have enough content on internet. So when I actually remember very vividly, when I started looking for Bitcoin, most people were saying this is a scam. The founder will disappear with your money. And I actually didn't invest enough time to study and really understand Bitcoin. And of course, I paid a price for my ignorance. This was how I started. And then, the second phase of my Bitcoin understanding, it's even more interesting because later, of course, I purchased Bitcoin at the price I thought I deserve, only with the intention to make some fast money because I wanted to speculate. But what happened, I sold later without investing enough time. And after I joined Xapo, I actually saw people using Bitcoin to protect their wealth from inflation. Because you see what's happening in Argentina, in Turkey, in some Southeast Asian countries. You may lose your wealth. The government just can take your wealth. And if you're lucky enough, your life savings will not be taken from the government, the inflation will destroy them. There are countries with 110, 150% inflation on an annual basis. And for those people, Bitcoin is a hope. And for those people, they don't buy Bitcoin to speculate. They buy Bitcoin just to protect their life and have a normal life for their family. I'm not talking about affluent life, just a normal life, which here in Europe and UK, most of people assume it's right. But yeah, after I saw this, I really understand. I got really enlightened that Bitcoin is changing the world and is changing the destiny for some people. So that's my story. It took time, but I finally got to the point where there is no turn back now. I see everything in orange, to be honest. Uh,
Fantastic. So, just to sort of clarify, so it was working with Xapo that really opened your eyes to the potential and the value in Bitcoin and how it was helping people. Is that right?
exactly, because what is interesting for Xapo, we are accepting customers from all around the world, and we have customers from pretty much every country you can imagine. And what I'm seeing in Argentina, in Turkey, in even in China, people are not very secure there. Like we have people that are Xapo Bank members for over 10 years because Xapo Bank was established 2013, and those people are saying like in my lifetime the government took my life savings and my family life saving twice, and then on top of that there is inflation of 100 and something percent. I cannot trust my local currency, and even if I decide to trust it, I may lose everything, and I actually lost everything. So for those people, they don't have alternative, and they are uh, investing, they're buying Bitcoin not to make money, they're buying Bitcoin for because for them this is the only option, and it's actually the best one to protect and grow their wealth and have a normal life. And after you see this, you understand that Bitcoin is much more than a speculative asset. You like people actually change their lives thanks to Bitcoin. So yeah, this was the point when I really understand the power of Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's as somebody who's lived in the US and in the UK, haven't had. I mean, the currency in both places are being devalued all the time, but haven't had that extreme volatility that other places like Argentina or places like that have had. And so we kind of take it for granted a little bit. But when you say those stories that the people have gone through, it's awful. I interviewed a guest on the show who, when he kind of first had his realization and like started really looking into Bitcoin, he was saying that it was I think it was Greece, maybe Greece or Turkey, I forget which one. But yeah, they were just sort of, the banks were just holding people's money. People couldn't get access to their money. I was like, that can't be a thing that happens. And it is. It is. We take it for granted in these kind of countries, but it is a thing that happens, and it is a thing that can happen. So would you mind just telling me a little bit about career-wise and your role at Xapo and how you ended up there?
Yeah, I would love to. So I actually started really working in the crypto industry in 2017 before the first very major bull run, I would say, when Bitcoin became more like a mainstream topic on the news outlets. And since then, I was going with my journey of really understanding Bitcoin, as I shared earlier. And then I joined Xapo 4 years ago. And after I saw that Bitcoin is changing people lives, and Xapo is positioning to ensure like the Bitcoin will succeed in long term, I'm actually extremely grateful and extremely excited to actually help people change their life. This is what keeps me motivated. My role right now, I'm responsible for ensuring that we're going to make Satoshi vision happening, because ironically people tend to forget that when Satoshi created Bitcoin, he started the white paper by saying it's a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And right now, a lot of people are considering Bitcoin as digital gold, which is great. I'm not saying anything against it. It should be also considered as digital gold, but in long term, Bitcoin must be used as a medium of exchange. And I am right now making sure that this vision from Satoshi will happen, and Zap Bank will help Bitcoin to become a medium of exchange. And what I mean, just to give an example to everyone watching this show, you should be able to transact any fiat or any stable coin on any cryptocurrency 24/7 internationally without a middleman, with a friction of a dollar. Like the cost should be minimal, and this should be settled on top of Bitcoin because it's the most trusted, the most decentralized payment network in the world. For example, let me give you an example. You live in Argentina. You want to send funds to your family residing in Singapore. If you use traditional banking rails right now, let's say Swift, it's going to take you 2 days. You're going to pay $30-40, and then you're going to be asked to prove your wealth, and then the recipient, let's say your wife in Singapore, is going to be asked also why they're receiving those funds. And now, if you use Bitcoin, as a medium of exchange, as a settlement layer, you can still send USD if you want. The USD will be received in Singapore. It's going to happen instantly. The costs are going to be 1 or 2 cents, opposite to $30, and the funds are going to happen they're going to settle instantly. So why you should use traditional banking rails if you can use Bitcoin to make those transactions settling? That's what we're doing in Xapo. We're just ensuring that people will be able to transact internationally without any issues, and this will ultimately also improve the Bitcoin security, because the miners are going to receive much more fees from those transactions. And someone now may argue, but wait, you just said that the transaction fee is going to be 2 or 3 cents. According to McKinsey, there are 8.9 billion transactions happening every single day. 8.9 billion. And now imagine if even half of those transactions start settling on top of Bitcoin. Like, miners can make a lot of money, and even more miners can join the network, which increases the security and the robustness of the network. So it's a win-win. Like, it's a win for the normal retail user, it's a win for the Bitcoin network, it's a win for the miners. So that's what I really hope and I believe we're going to make with Xapo. We're going to make sure Satoshi vision will become reality.
It's exciting. I have a couple of follow-up questions about that. So with the immediacy of the payments and the cheaper, it being cheaper to make those transactions, that is fantastic if people don't want to be, spending all this amount of money and they need the money instantly. My worry with, because every day we're talking about numerous hacks and scams and stuff like that going. My concern with having these immediate transactions that are then done is that once money has been taken, we're actually going to get to a story about a group working together to try to stop this. But for now, my worry is that having those delays, having the verifications of the person sending the money and the person receiving the money, kind of puts a buffer to sort of slow down fraud and things like that happening in scams. Is there, how does Xapo kind of help in any way to kind of avoid some of those things happening, or is it just you're responsible as the person sending Bitcoin or the USDT?
Actually, it's there is a very interesting statistic that is showing that actually most funds have been lost because of human mistake, especially in the Bitcoin when they transact, rather than hacks or scams. And this statistic. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I can find them. And this is all about how the people are educated, how to transact internationally, how to touch their Bitcoin, how to custody their Bitcoin. And what I'm seeing is the main challenge right now, it's about the arrogance. A lot of people are saying, no, I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to put my Bitcoin in my cold storage, and then I'm not going to trust anyone. But wait, people are not understanding that first they may lose their cold wallet. You saw what's happening in California with the fires. If like something goes wrong with your cold storage, you may lose your Bitcoin and your wealth respectively. And then what's happening if you die? Like, if you die tomorrow, why you should lose your wealth and why you should not transfer your wealth to your hires? Bitcoin is appreciating on average 40% every year, and you're telling me that you don't want to ensure your kids are not going to receive this wealth because you already have it. But also, like what I'm seeing in Xapo, most of the people are changing their mind after they accumulate enough Bitcoin, because there is a huge difference how you're thinking in terms of Bitcoin custody if you have $100 in Bitcoin versus $100,000 in Bitcoin. And that's the moment when you really start thinking about your hires, what's going to happen with you and what's going to happen with your Bitcoin, because there is a big difference to lose $100 in Bitcoin and lose 100,000 or even 1 million. And that's a very, very interesting phenomenon. And in Xapo Bank, we are doing the right things. We are offering inheritance feature, which means as a regulated bank, we can ensure your Bitcoin if something goes wrong with you, if you die tomorrow, if you get hit by a bus, your kids are going to, or your wife or your family, they're going to receive your wealth. So that's one of the main reasons why people actually select using this feature, because they understand that we may die tomorrow. It's like no one has a
Mm.
guarantee that nothing will go wrong. So
Y-
yeah, that's
We're
what I'm
gonna
thinking.
we're definitely going to deep dive into that story because I think that's a great thing to add. I guess it was more to do with when you have an instant payment that goes through and clears quickly. If that payment has gone to the wrong person, that's it, right? It's just done. There's no way to stop it or slow it down. Or are there any kind of ways of, if you make that mistake through being scammed or just accidentally send it to the wrong person, there's no stopping it or reversing it?
So right now there are plenty of instant payment systems in the world. You can use in Europe it's called SEPA. In United Kingdom it's called faster payments. Once you make the transaction, you cannot really reverse it. You can reverse it if you use SWIFT, which is like the international payment network. But if you use those local instant payments, you cannot really reverse transactions. And right now, every country around the world, like Brazil, Colombia, you name it, they have their local payment networks, and the payments are not reversible even today. So, like, it really depends from the perspective. I don't see this will be the issue with the Bitcoin instant payments because at the end, this is already happening right now. And again, like there aren't so much money that have been lost because of scams, but mainly because of the mistakes.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it's because we hear a lot of the times the benefit of these fast, immediate payments. And I guess I'm just sort of making the case for traditional banking, which is slow and clunky and expensive, is that there's the flip side of that is there's the option to kind of slow things down if things have gone wrong. So, but yeah, for people who do want it immediate and don't want to pay anything, it is great that they've now got these options. The other thing that you touched on just a little bit ago was about the Satoshi. I forget the term that you used, but the kind of manifesto in a way about using Bitcoin as not just a store of value, not just like digital gold, but as a currency. I'm curious to get your take on this because as we're seeing a lot of institutional investment, this has been something that has come up like a few times, as we're seeing a lot of institutional investment and companies buying and holding huge sums of Bitcoin. I'm wondering, like, do you think that could be sustainable when you've got sort of companies? Does it encourage people to use Bitcoin as a way of just buying or selling things when there's other people that are just kind of buying it to hold it indefinitely? Does that my worry is like, how is that sustainable? But do you think that there's a way that could still, those two things can happen? You've got people just buying and holding, and then but people can still be able to transact.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think and I believe the Bitcoin network will self-regulate. Right now, we don't have enough infrastructure to enable people to use Bitcoin for their everyday purchases. In Xapo, we are doing our mission is to ensure this will happen, but it's still taking time. And right now, we are in a phase where people are considering Bitcoin as a digital gold. Which is something good because more and more people discover Bitcoin, more and more people actually start understanding Bitcoin without the intention just to buy and sell higher, without the intention to speculate. They really understand the value. And now we have crazy investments in the Bitcoin infrastructure. You saw Tether, they are investing over 1 billion to start settling USD transactions on top of Bitcoin. In Xapo, as I mentioned, we are ensuring people can transact internationally 24/7 for less than 3 cents. Any fiat or stablecoin currency around the world from a regulated bank like we are. So this will happen, but we are not there yet. I also understand the concerns that if people are just keeping their Bitcoin as a digital gold, or they're keeping their Bitcoin in a treasury company or cold wallet, this is not going to provide enough incentives for miners to keep validating transactions after the Bitcoins have been mined, because I think the estimations right now are that in 2140, 99.999% of Bitcoins would have been mined, which is not giving enough incentives for miners. But that's the thing. I strongly believe that by then we're going to have the right infrastructure, which is built right now. Then in the next few years, we will see more and more people using Bitcoin as a settlement layer. And what is funny is that some people may not even understand that they're using Bitcoin. 2 days ago on Tuesday, there was an announcement from SoFi. SoFi, it's quite a big digital bank in United States. Like they have over 10 million customers. And now they announced that they're going to start settling transactions between USD and Mexican pesos on top of Bitcoin. And the average retail user, they may not even understand that the transaction is happening on top of Bitcoin. What they care is that they press the button, the transaction is sent to their friends or family in Mexico for less than 1 second. They pay 1 or 2 cents, and that's it. They don't care if it's Bitcoin. They don't care if it's Swift or it's any of our traditional networks. And this is the browser moment for Bitcoin, because the internet was existing way before the browser became a mainstream. But once you have the browser, which is making everything so simple for you to access internet, then the internet really exploded. And right now, we are ensuring we are building the browser for the Bitcoin, and people may even don't know how Bitcoin is working, but they're going to use it. It is going to improve their life, and it's going to improve the Bitcoin adoption.
Yeah, lots of exciting developments coming. Can you tell me a bit about how do people typically use Xapo Bank? Is it for transactions? Do they use it to hold their Bitcoin? It's interesting that you said that you've got kind of clients. It's open to clients around the world, so anybody can open a Xapo Bank account. Would you mind just sort of telling me a bit more about Xapo and how it works?
Yeah, Xapo is actually the most unique Bitcoin value proposition right now on the market, and I'm not saying this because I'm working for Xapo. But let me walk you through what you can do right now with Xapo and what our members are doing. So we have members with Xapo since 2013, and those are the Bitcoin maxis who really understand the value of Bitcoin. Those are people who know that Bitcoin is appreciating over 40% year on year. And those are people who don't want to sell their Bitcoin at any price. They don't care if the price is 100,000 or 150 or 50,000. They want to keep their Bitcoin forever. But also, the Bitcoin has to work for you in one way, in one form or another. So what you can do right now with Xapo, you can receive interest on top of your Bitcoin. We are the first regulated bank offering interest on top of your Bitcoin without lending your Bitcoin. That's a very unique value proposition. You can use Bitcoin to pay with Lightning. If you have a friend somewhere and you want to send Bitcoin, you can use Lightning. It's very interesting also that you can use your debit card, international debit card, and pay with Bitcoin, which means we are going to take your Bitcoin and process the transaction with the debit card internationally. So you can actually bank with your Bitcoin. You can live on the Bitcoin standard without even touching fiat. We also have the inheritance feature, which means your Bitcoin is ensured that it's going to be passed to your heirs. And you can also buy and sell Bitcoin. Like selling Bitcoin, it's ridiculous, but some people, if they really need to sell Bitcoin, they can. And also, you can use Bitcoin for pretty much buying everything right now, and that's something we are offering. And what we are seeing is the type of customers that are joining Xapo. Those are real Bitcoin maxis who just don't want to sell their Bitcoin, but they want to make sure that Bitcoin can work for them. And those are people who are smart enough to understand that they don't want to be the single point of failure and keep their Bitcoin in a cold storage, because they know that if something goes wrong, their Bitcoin can be lost. And they know that if they use a trusted custodian like Xapo Bank, we are going to not only ensure your Bitcoin is secure, but actually make sure your Bitcoin will grow. So yeah, it's very interesting, especially for members from, as I mentioned, from Argentina, from China, from Peru, Brazil. Those people really need Bitcoin. So yeah,
it's a Bitcoin bank. It's pretty cool. Sort of seems like, yeah, in all the ways that you have a traditional bank, but specifically for Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, if someone really and like, for example, you want to buy a real estate, Bitcoin maxis are not buying real estate, but let's say for some reason you want to buy a real estate, probably the seller is not going to accept Bitcoin. We are not there yet, probably because of the infrastructure is not there. But you have to use traditional fiat rail. For example, you need to send USD from Spain to Singapore. Then you have to use traditional bank. And what's happening if you have only Bitcoin? Well, here you have Xapo Bank. We are the first fully regulated Bitcoin bank. which was established 2013, and we're going to allow you to purchase real estate from one country to another and make your international transaction coming from your Bitcoin holdings. And there aren't other banks supporting this right now. There are some local banks in some countries, but they're just local banks supporting country-specific transfers. We're the only one which is international, which yeah, it actually makes me very, very excited for what we are offering and how we are helping Satoshi Vision to become reality.
Can you tell me, you mentioned that you're able to offer interest on the Bitcoin. How does that work? That's great, because I agree it's good to have money working for you. So yeah, how is Xapo able to pay interest?
Yes, so we were established 2013, and we were the biggest and largest Bitcoin custodian. So Xapo is holding own balance sheet from Bitcoin, and we're operating with our own Bitcoin just to offer this for our customers, which means we're not lending your Bitcoin. And then if you don't want to receive this interest, okay, fine, you may not use it, but that's we're actually the only Bitcoin company offering this. Yes, the interest is not 10%. You should not expect to receive 10%, but still, you can have your Bitcoin working for you.
Sorry, I think I might have misheard you for a second there. So, in order for the interest, is the interest generated if the Bitcoin is being lent out? If you opt to have your Bitcoin lent out, is that what you said? And then that's where you got the interest
yes,
from?
It's Xapo personal. Yeah, it's Xapo personal Bitcoin. The customer members' Bitcoin is never lended. Yeah, exactly.
Oh wait, sorry. What's the Xapo personal? What's the Xapo personal?
So we were established 2013, and Xapo is still having a lot of own Bitcoins because the Bitcoin price of 2013. So Xapo is owning own Bitcoin. So we can do a treasury operations with our own Bitcoin, and then the profits that we are receiving, we're giving back to our members without touching members' Bitcoin. That's a critical one because some of our members, they're very concerned. They don't want to lend their Bitcoin. They want to make sure we are not lending, which is exactly what's happening right now. This is called the Bitcoin savings.
That's fantastic. And lastly, I was kind of curious. So it seems like you touched on it before that a lot of customers, perhaps a lot of Xapo customers, are with Xapo because they don't want to be that single point of failure. Like you say, when there's larger sums of money in Bitcoin, people kind of rely on banks. Would you say that that's because, there's always the argument of not your keys, not your coins. And so but we kind of had discussions on the show before too. That's all very well and good, but if you're not a very responsible person, it might not always be the best option. Self-custody might not always be the best for every single person. So yeah, what are the sort of reasons that people come to Xapo rather than hold their coins themselves?
Right. So what I can tell you on this one, and it's quite a big topic, we're seeing members who are understanding that being single point of failure almost equally means something will go wrong with your Bitcoin. There is a huge difference to have 100, 300, even $1,000 of Bitcoin and store it in your cold wallet versus having $100,000 of Bitcoin or $1 million of Bitcoin. Then you think differently. You start understanding that if something goes wrong, this will it may destroy your wealth, and you need a trusted custody provider to secure your Bitcoin. Think about MicroStrategy or strategy. Do you think like Sailor is keeping 600,000 Bitcoins in his cold storage under his mattress? Of course he is not. He's using a centralized custodian, trusted custodian. And that's what Xapo is also offering. And everyone has a choice. If you want to use your cold wallet, that's completely fine. You can store your Bitcoin in your cold wallet and then deposit to Xapo, bank with your Bitcoin with Xapo, and then withdraw it. That's completely fine. And no one will stop our customers to do it. But once you start realizing that you can actually make money with your Bitcoin and you can make your Bitcoin working for you, then why you should use it? Why you should store it in a cold wallet? And as I mentioned earlier in our discussion, the statistics are very clear. There are most coins that have been lost because people are making mistakes when they transact with their cold wallet versus hacks. on centralized exchanges or custodians. So that's a big number, a big difference. And what we are seeing, people are arrogant, but after they start accumulating a lot of Bitcoin, they change their mind and they start thinking about their future, about their kids, about their hires, and then they start looking where they can really put their Bitcoin in regulated, trusted custodians. And there are not a lot of, I can tell. And Xapo Bank right now, it's we're offering the most unique. Again, I'm saying unique, but I really believe it's the most unique value proposition because you can literally bank with your Bitcoin from a regulated point of view, and you can ensure your hires, your family will receive your Bitcoin if something goes wrong with you. But again, like people just have a different choices, and some of them are paying for their mistakes, and some mistakes are very expensive.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for kind of breaking everything down and explaining it. It's, we've had Xapo as a sponsor since we started the show, and it's really cool to hear about everything that you guys are doing. It's a great offering, and like you say, it's a choice for people. It's an option, and I think you're offering some fantastic services. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will jump into the news. We'll be right back.
Security matters. Xapo Bank, the only way to bank your Bitcoin. Apply now at xapobank.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's dive into the news. We'll start with the top Bitcoin price story making waves today. This is Top of the Block.
Okay.
I have to apologize because I misquoted the price of Bitcoin earlier in the show. I said it was at 115,000, but Bitcoin is actually holding steady above $113,000, 519 as of now, as traders wait for a key speech from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell at the Jackson Hole Conference. His comments are expected to set the tone for interest rates going into September. If Powell signals rate cuts, markets could find relief. But if he takes a tougher stance, analysts warn that Bitcoin could slide further. Solana and Dogecoin led the gains among major tokens, each rising about 4%. Other big names like XRP, Ethereum, Binance, and Tron saw smaller moves, climbing 1 to 3%. Recent job data has raised hopes for lower rates, but inflation pressures remain. Analysts say the Fed now faces a delicate balancing act. Cut rates too soon and risk higher inflation. Wait too long and risk slowing growth. Investor sentiment has weakened quickly. The Fear and Greed Index dropped to 44, its lowest in nearly 2 months, after reaching 75 less than a week ago. Some traders are watching the $108,000 level as key support. If that breaks, they warn Bitcoin could fall toward 100,000. With Powell's speech just ahead, crypto markets remain on edge, bracing for volatility in either direction. Okay, Anton, curious to get your take on this slight dip that we're having and what you think we are in store for over the next couple of days.
Speculating on the Bitcoin price is my favorite topic because I'm usually saying we don't care what Bitcoin price is because we are not planning to sell because we know that the Bitcoin is appreciating over 40% every year on average. So why someone should sell Bitcoin because there is a potential interest rate cuts, like people are not doing this. No, but on a more serious note, I think those Bitcoin price fluctuations are temporary because in the long term, I strongly believe that Bitcoin is going to be the medium of exchange for everything. And once we have the right infrastructure and people start adopting Bitcoin for payments, actually the price will not depend on what the Fed chair is announcing. The Bitcoin is not going to depend on the potential interest rate cuts, but on the phase that we are right now, it may depend a little bit based on the outcome of this speech. I think right now there is like 85-90% chance that interest rate cuts will happen in September. But I honestly believe that Bitcoin is much stronger than this. and the Bitcoin is going to be as impacted as stocks because just Bitcoin is playing in their own league. And thinking that something will go wrong with the Bitcoin because of the interest rate cuts, it's a bit naive because the history is showing that no matter if the rates are high or low, Bitcoin is winning, and the Bitcoin never been in a stronger position to win, considering the support from the White House right now. So probably temporary volatility because of the interest rate topic and decisions, but I think nothing major will happen. And I think traders and the markets in general, they know that this is probably the last important speech from the current Fed chair, because soon he's going to be substituted, I think, in April. So people don't really are not really going to take him seriously after this speech. So I'm not very concerned. I think the Bitcoin in long term, it's very clear, it's going to go high.
Yeah. I think that's for people who have sort of been around for a while, it seems to be the common sentiment. And we've had a few guests whenever we kind of have these conversations about slight dips or big dips. Everyone is now kind of excited as like great opportunity to stack some sats, as the folks like to say, the kids like to say. So yeah, I guess it's all it depends on whether you're kind of like looking at it from a long-term perspective or just these sort of near-term things. All right, let's move on to the next story. Anton, which camera would you like me to look at? Anton, producer? Okay. Yes. Well, now it's time for some headlines making from around the world. This is the Global Gist. A new report suggests the coming great wealth transfer could become one of the biggest drivers of Bitcoin adoption in history. Xapo Bank says trillions of dollars will move from baby boomers to their children and grandchildren over the next 10 years. In the United States alone, about $10.6 trillion is expected to change hands by 2030. Trillions more will transfer in Europe and Asia. The difference this time is that younger generations are far more open to digital assets. Xapo estimates that between $160 and $225 billion could flow into Bitcoin over the next 2 decades as this shift takes place. That translates into an extra $20 to $28 million in daily demand. The bank points to Bitcoin's scarcity, its independence from central banks, and its reputation as a hedge against inflation as key reasons why younger heirs may choose to hold it. But inheriting crypto is not simple. Unlike a traditional account, digital assets rely on private keys that can be lost. Unregulated exchanges still pose risks, and laws differ widely from country to country. To address this, Xapo has launched its Bitcoin Beneficiaries program. It offers secure storage, clear legal transfer mechanisms, and regulatory protections for heirs. The bank says its wealthiest clients are already using the service, highlighting a growing need to protect digital assets across generations. Okay, Anton, it's fantastic to have you on the show today because you can speak directly to this. I guess you saw or Xapo the whole beneficiary heirs thing as an important consideration for people holding Bitcoin. Can you tell me about kind of the trajectory of how you've developed this and how it's helping clients? We kind of touched on it briefly, but yeah, it'd be good to get a bit more insight from you.
Yeah, I would love to. Well, I'll start from there that Bitcoin, Xapo was established 2013, and it was the largest Bitcoin custodian in the world. So we have customers that have been with us for over 12 years, and those people accumulated very, very significant amounts of Bitcoin. And there is a huge difference when you have 100, 200, or $1,000 in Bitcoin versus having 100,000 or 1 million. When you have this amount of money, you start thinking about your hires, about your inheritance. You want to ensure your family is going to be protected and they can take advantage of the wealth that you accumulated. And we are seeing that people really, really request this feature, and they use it for just to ensure that nothing can go wrong with their wealth, because Bitcoin is appreciating on average 40% every year, and those people, they don't want to sell their Bitcoin, but they also understand that taking care of Bitcoin, if you are unexperienced and a new user, it can be very, very tricky. Now, imagine you own 10 Bitcoins and then suddenly you go to your wife or your kid and say, okay, those are the private keys, the Bitcoins are here, take care. There is a very high chance that those bitcoins can be or will be lost because of a manual or human mistake, and you want to ensure that this is not going to happen, and you want to ensure that your kids are going to be able to not only receive bitcoin but also to operate with this bitcoin. And for this you need a trusted bitcoin custodian, regulated one, but also you need to be able to ensure those people will be have the ability to transact with the Bitcoin that you're going to give to them. So that's where we are right now. Are we seeing a lot of young people being interested in Bitcoin? Yes, but also we are seeing a lot of people with Bitcoin already thinking how they can pass their Bitcoin to the next generation, which is quite inspiring, I will say. And I'm very happy that we are ensuring this will happen and hopefully change the people life of the heirs of the Bitcoin holders, the next generation.
Yeah, it's a really great offering that's solving a big problem and something that is, just to lose such vast sums of wealth because you haven't, given people the right information or whatever. This seems like a good way to help address that. Another thing that Xapo recently announced, I believe yesterday, was that you've enabled USDT on Tron as a deposit option. Would you mind sharing a bit more about that?
Yeah. Of course. So what's happening and what I'm seeing is happening. I will give you an example. Imagine you live in China and you want to move some of your wealth, or you want to make international payment to your family living abroad. So right now you cannot really do it because there are capital controls. There are capital controls in China, there are capital controls in Argentina, and in a few more countries. So how you can move money outside of a country where there are capital controls? Well, you cannot use traditional fiat rails. You can use something which is decentralized and something which it's eliminating your volatility risk, and it's ensuring that the transaction will happen instantly without any obstacles. And here we have the stable coins, and the stable coins are really the solution for the problems of those people. And we see like significant portion of our members interacting with stablecoins one way or another, simply because, yeah, it's fast, cheap, and convenient for them. We enabled Tron simply because this was requested by our members. Over 70% of USDT transactions right now are settled on the Tron network, so it's extremely popular in South America, and we already see great adoption. Overall, like, we're listening from the feedback from our members, and we always try to deliver what really has been requested. But also, what is interesting is we have members depositing USDT on Tron and buying Bitcoin, and that's already like a very, very clear pattern. And why you're going to buy Bitcoin in Xapo? Well, because when you open Xapo app, you see that our Bitcoin exchange rate is actually one of the best. We are not adding additional spread, and we're not having any hidden fees. So like it is cheaper to buy Bitcoin with Xapo instead of going to traditional centralized exchange. So there are different cases, but the adoption, to be honest, surprised me.
Yeah, another great offering. Can I just ask quickly, what is there any fees associated with having a Xapo Bank account, or how does that work?
Yes, so right now everyone can open a Xapo Bank account. We are charging $1,000 upfront, but it's very important to highlight a few points. First of all, you're receiving 3.75% interest yield on your deposit. So let's assume you deposit 100,000 USDT on Tron today. On this deposit, you're going to receive 3.75% yield, which is paid daily. And the best part is that it's paid in Satoshis. So you have this compounding effect, because we know Bitcoin is appreciating over 40% every year on average, and the interest is paid in Satoshis. So if the Bitcoin goes up, actually the interest that you're receiving, there is this compound effect that's only going up. So for a deposit of 100,000 $1,000, you're going to receive already in interest for 1 year $3,750. So the 1,000 fee is just to ensure we have customers that are really inspired to use Xapo Bank, and because we want to offer a premium experience, because every one of our customers, they have a dedicated account manager. Our customers can book a Zoom call with them, and if they want, they can always come to Gibraltar, book a meeting, and visit our headquarters. It's open every business day. And in order to offer this premium service, we just want to have this initial fee, which has to be charged. But at the end, like for people that we have, actually they make money with Xapo. They don't pay because of the reasons I just explained, especially paying the interest or receiving cashback from the card. But that's a separate topic, because for every card payment you receive cashback paid in, guess what, Satoshi, because we are a Bitcoin bank.
Excellent. Thank you for explaining that. Okay, let's move on to one of our other Global Gist stories. Volkswagen. The Volkswagen Group Singapore has taken a bold step into the digital economy. The company has announced that customers can now pay for cars, accessories, and after-sales services using cryptocurrency. Through a partnership with payment platform FOMO Pay, Volkswagen Singapore will accept Bitcoin, Ethereum, and 2 stablecoins, Tether and USD Coin. To meet Singapore's rules on digital payments, limits will apply. Customers can spend up to 4,500 Singapore dollars per day in crypto, with a total cap of 13,500 per payment cycle. Volkswagen says the move is about more than just adding a new payment method. Managing Director Kurt Lettner explained that today's customers expect speed and convenience in every part of the buying process, including how they pay. FOMO Pay provides the secure backend for the system. It offers real-time exchange rates and ensures compliance with Singapore's financial regulations. The company is licensed by the Monetary Authority of Singapore as a major payment institution. This development comes as crypto adoption in Singapore continues to grow. Surveys show that 1 in 4 residents already own digital assets. By adding crypto payments, Volkswagen Singapore is aligning itself with the nation's smart nation vision, which aims to blend technology seamlessly into daily life by 2030. Okay, Anton, what do you think about this? I know that real-world adoption of Bitcoin and payments is definitely something that you care about. This is kind of a method to allow people to do that. Is this a win for Bitcoin?
It's a win for Bitcoin, and it's kind of related to the previous topic we discussed regarding the biggest Bitcoin wealth transfer. They're seeing that the new generation are much more willing to use interact with Bitcoin, and the traditional companies are seeing this, and they're trying to get advantage from this trend. Particularly in Singapore, there is a very, very strong digital assets adoption, not only from the young generation, but also from the baby boomers, simply because the nation is very open to the latest technologies. And I'm not surprised that Volkswagen selected Singapore for offering this functionality, just to buy a vehicle with Bitcoin. Do you know what is interesting? It's interesting that you have traditional treasury companies that are using borrowing fiat to buy Bitcoin. Then you have other companies like Volkswagen that are going to receive Bitcoin, but that they're going to auto-convert it to USD, because they do not hold Bitcoin. So it's funny that they are receiving Bitcoin and they are selling Bitcoin for USD, while you have treasury companies that are using USD to buy Bitcoin. I think those are the very early stages of the Bitcoin adoption from institutions, and it's definitely the right one. But it's going to take time for Volkswagen to understand their huge mistake, that the Bitcoin they received, they sold it and auto-convert it to USD instead of keeping it, because later they're going to buy Bitcoin for their balance sheet, but they're going to pay much higher price. But that's currently the world we are living in. But as one very famous Bitcoin maxi said, everyone buy Bitcoin at the price they deserve. So yeah, everyone will buy the price they deserve.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to move on. I think we've got time for one more story while we have you on. So the next one is BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, has quietly become one of the biggest players in Bitcoin. Through its iShares Bitcoin Trust, known as IBIT, BlackRock now holds more than 662,000 Bitcoin. That's over 3% of the total supply. At today's prices, the holdings are worth more than $72 billion. This is a historic milestone. No ETF has ever grown this quickly. For comparison, it took the gold ETF more than 1,600 trading days to reach $70 billion. BlackRock did it in just 341 days, making IBIT the fastest growing ETF in history. Only Bitcoin's creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, controls more coins. Even major companies and exchanges now hold less than BlackRock. If inflows continue at this pace, IBIT could become the single largest holder of Bitcoin. BlackRock says its strategy is simple. Bitcoin provides diversification in a portfolio, especially during times of uncertainty with traditional currencies. The firm is encouraging institutions to allocate even 1 to 2% of their holdings to Bitcoin as part of a balanced mix. For Bitcoin, this marks a turning point. What was once seen as a fringe asset is now firmly embedded in mainstream finance, with the biggest asset manager in the world leading the charge. Okay, Anton, what do you think about this? I've always, I don't know how I feel about sort of traditional financial institutions becoming major Bitcoin players, because it seems like the creation of Bitcoin was in response to these types of institutions paying back, like making a mess out of the monetary system. So do you think is this a good thing? It's good in a way that it's allowing Bitcoin adoption, but are there any concerns that you have?
I think this is one of the craziest turnovers to have BlackRock now actively engage with Bitcoin and even actively promoting Bitcoin to their customers. I'm not very concerned that they own 3%, and let me explain why. BlackRock actually is using is working as a investment vehicle, which means there are retail customers behind, and also there are corporate customers behind that are buying their ETF. So even though that BlackRock as an entity is owning this, behind those Bitcoins there are other people like me and you, for example, who purchase Bitcoin through IBIT. So the statement that BlackRock owns 3%, when we deep dive a few layers, we're going to figure it out that at the end those Bitcoins are not really owned by BlackRock. They're owned by people who gave them the paper USD in order to buy it. So I don't think this should be concerning. Actually, we should be happy that now it's easy for the average person to go and buy Bitcoin instead of using exchanges. They just go and buy the ETF from their 401k account, for example. What I'm a little bit more concerned is when you have a treasury company owning 3% of the all available Bitcoin, like for example Strategy, because behind Strategy you have board, and the Bitcoin it's owned by the company itself. The Bitcoin is not owned by the investors. While on BlackRock you have people like me and you who actually can sell the Bitcoin. They can pretty much do whatever they want with their holdings. So I think the BlackRock case is actually very positive for the network, and the fact that you have a traditional financial company like BlackRock actively promoting Bitcoin, this actually opened a lot of doors for the community and a lot of doors for the further adoption. So I think this was, as I said at the beginning, this was one of the craziest turnovers I have seen. Like for people rejecting Bitcoin to have people actively promoting Bitcoin. It's crazy, and I think we are lucky to see this in our lifetimes.
We just have like a couple more minutes left before we wrap up this segment with you. But do you mind just? I guess I'm not quite sure of how, if you have bought this BlackRock ETF, how you are owning the Bitcoin specifically. Is it just sort of the way that the agreements and the contracts are drawn up? I guess would you mind just sort of breaking that down a little bit more?
Yes, so I'm in general, I believe that every Bitcoin maxi should ensure they buy Bitcoin directly and not through ETFs. But particularly with the BlackRock one, after you purchase in this case the ETFs, you are receiving the equivalent of Bitcoin as IBIT shares. Can you withdraw your Bitcoin? Unfortunately, you cannot, but you're always available to sell your Bitcoin and then use the USD to immediately purchase a Bitcoin. And for example, you can do this pretty much every day. what you can do with your Bitcoin, well, you can right now just enjoy the price appreciation. But if you really want to do something with your Bitcoin, you should use other solutions, like for example Xapo Bank, which is going to give you interest, which is going to give you opportunity to pay bank with your Bitcoin, and sure, it can be inherited. Yeah, it's much more flexible. But I also understand that for the average investor, it's much easier to open their traditional broker account, press one button, buy Bitcoin, and then go and explain that they're Bitcoin investors. At the end, that's not bad. That's not bad for anyone.
And the difference,
yeah.
sorry, just to cut in, and the difference with strategy. So you were saying that it kind of makes a bit more sense now if you're buying the Bitcoin ETF, it equates to a certain amount of Bitcoin. But if you're buying shares of strategy, for example, are you saying that kind of does not equate to the Bitcoin? The money that you've put in doesn't equate to X amount of Bitcoin, so it's not as easy to sell it? Is that what you mean?
That's exactly what I mean, because when you buy strategy shares, you actually depend on the price of the strategy. Let me give you an example. In November 2024, Bitcoin was 98,000, and strategy actually owned 350,000 Bitcoins. Right now, they own 620,000. Something like this Bitcoins. I don't know the exact number because they're constantly buying, but let's say they own almost twice of the Bitcoin amount they owned in November last year. In November, the Bitcoin price was 100,000. Now it's 113. It was 124. So it's like approximately 20% higher, and the amount of their Bitcoin holdings doubled from November, but their share of their price is the same. The price of the share didn't double, which means you understand the difference now. If something goes wrong with strategy, you don't own the Bitcoin, you own the shares. So it's very different from the ETF. On the ETF, you own the price volatility, so you can technically say that you own the Bitcoin, even though you cannot move it. But with buying strategy shares, you just buy a share of that tech company or financial engineering company. Let's put it in this way. But you don't own the Bitcoin. And if the Bitcoin goes to 120 and the Bitcoin price appreciates 20%, and you purchase MSTR shares in November last year, you don't make any money while Bitcoin is up 20%. So that's a big difference.
Thank you for explaining that. Anton, it's been so lovely speaking to you. We would absolutely like to have you back on the show again. Where can people find more information about you?
So you can find me on X, Anton, with my very complex surname. You can see it on the on the screen, and also you can always speak with us on our Xapo Bank X account. We organize very often ask me anything questions on X. So feel free to join and post your questions. I'm going to be more than happy to answer and interact, or you can text me on X.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Bobby. I forgot his last name. Terrible of me. Bobby Shell, thank you. I'm looking forward to speaking to him from Voltage. We'll be back.
Security matters. Xapo Bank, the only way to bank your Bitcoin. Apply now at xapobank.com.